The alarm blared across Space Command headquarters, causing everyone to freeze. For 5 years, no one had heard that particular tone. The long-lost ship alert. Commander Lisa Wilson dropped her coffee mug. It shattered on the floor, but she didn't notice. "Sir," a young officer called out, his voice shaking. "We have an unidentified object entering the solar system. It's moving at impossible speeds." Lisa rushed to the main screen, her heart racing. The object was coming from deep space, following no known path. Its speed made no sense. Nothing human-made could move that fast. "Get me visual," she ordered, her voice steady despite her racing thoughts. When the image appeared on screen, the entire room fell silent. The ship's outline was unmistakable despite some strange modifications. The name painted on its side confirmed what Lisa already knew in her heart. Horizon. 15 years ago, the Horizon had set out on humanity's most ambitious journey, the first crewed mission to Proxima Centauri. Lisa had been meant to be on that ship as second officer, but a last-minute injury had kept her groundside. She had watched as her friends and colleagues, 120 of Earth's best and brightest, disappeared into the darkness of space. After 3 years without contact, Earth had declared them lost. Now somehow the ship was back. "Send out the hail on all frequencies," Lisa ordered. "Get me Captain Miller." Minutes passed with no response. The Horizon continued its approach, slowing as it neared Mars' orbit. Its movement was strange, too smooth, too precise, and the energy readings made no sense at all. "Ma'am," said the communications officer. Still no response to hails. Admiral Thomas entered the command center, his face grim. "Commander Wilson, I need your expertise on this. You knew that ship and crew better than anyone." Lisa nodded. "Sir, that ship is using technology we don't have. The way it's moving, it's not our engines. And those structures along the hull weren't there when it left Earth." The Admiral studied the screen. "Could it be aliens using our ship as cover?" "Possible. But why return to Earth? Why not just come openly?" Lisa shook her head. "We need to get on board." "Agreed. I'm putting you in charge of the boarding team. Take whatever you need." 6 hours later, Lisa sat in full space gear aboard an interceptor ship. With her were 8 Special Forces soldiers and 2 engineers. As they approached the Horizon, Lisa could see the changes up close. Strange metal formations wrapped around the original hull like vines, pulsing with soft blue light. The main engines were gone, replaced by something that looked more like crystal than metal. "This doesn't look human-made," whispered Jones, one of the engineers. "Stay focused," Lisa replied. "We don't know what we're walking into." Docking proved easier than expected. The Horizon's airlock opened for them without command, as if expecting visitors. The team entered with weapons ready, moving in practiced formation through the familiar yet changed corridors. The inside of the ship was eerily silent. Where there should have been the hum of engines and life support, there was nothing but a faint musical tone at the edge of hearing. The lighting was different too, softer, coming from the walls themselves rather than fixtures. "Life signs?" Lisa asked through her helmet comm. "One reading, ma'am. Forward section near the bridge," replied Garcia, checking his scanner. They moved carefully toward the bridge, passing empty crew quarters and workstations. Everything was neat, as if the crew had just stepped away for a moment. But a fine layer of dust covered everything, telling a different story. When they reached the bridge, the doors slid open silently. Inside, a single figure sat in the captain's chair, back to them, looking out at the stars through the main viewport. "Hands where we can see them," ordered the team leader, raising his weapon. Slowly, the chair turned. The man sitting there wore a standard Earth Fleet uniform, though it seemed newer than it should be after 15 years in space. He appeared to be in his mid-40s with dark hair going gray at the temples. His face broke into a tired smile when he saw Lisa. "Commander Wilson," he said quietly. "I knew they'd send you." Lisa's breath caught in her throat. "Marcus?" Chief Engineer Davis. Marcus Davis nodded. "It's good to see a familiar face." "Where is everyone else? Where's Captain Miller?" Lisa demanded, stepping forward. Marcus's smile faded. "Gone. All gone. I'm the only one left. The team swept the rest of the ship, confirming Marcus's claim. The horizon was empty of all other crew members. Even stranger was the condition of Marcus himself. He looked exactly as Lisa remembered him. 15 years had passed on Earth, but Marcus Davis didn't seem to have aged more than a few months. Back at Space Command, Marcus sat in an isolation room, sipping water while doctors ran tests. Through the observation window, Lisa watched with Admiral Thomas at her side. "His physical condition is perfect," said the chief medical officer. "Too perfect, actually. His cellular age matches his chronological age from when the ship left Earth. It's as if time barely passed for him." "What about the ship?" asked the admiral. The chief engineer stepped forward with a tablet. "Sir, we can't make sense of half the systems on board. The original engines are gone, replaced by something else. There's technology there that violates what we understand about physics. The power source alone, it's generating energy in ways we can't explain." Lisa turned to the admiral. "He's asking to speak with me." Admiral Thomas nodded slowly. "Find out what happened out there, Commander. Where are the rest of the crew? And, most importantly, what did they bring back with them?" Lisa entered the isolation room and sat across from Marcus. Up close, she could see that while his body might not have aged, his eyes told a different story. They were older, haunted. "You look good, Lisa," Marcus said. "Made commander, I see." 15 years is a long time," she replied. "What happened out there, Marcus? Where is everyone?" Marcus set down his water cup, his hands perfectly steady. "You wouldn't believe me if I told you?" "Try me." He leaned forward. "From our perspective, we've only been gone about 6 months. That's impossible. Even at near light speeds." "We went beyond light speed," Marcus interrupted. "Way beyond. We found something out there, Lisa. Something that changed everything." His eyes gleamed with an intensity that made Lisa uncomfortable. "What did you find?" Marcus smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "We weren't the first to reach Proxima Centauri. Something, was already there. Dying. Their civilization was ending, and they needed someone to carry on their legacy." "Aliens?" Lisa whispered, disbelief and wonder mixing in her voice. Marcus nodded. "They called themselves the Architects. And they gave us everything, Lisa. Everything. The knowledge of 1,000,000 years of science and discovery." "And the rest of the crew?" Marcus's face darkened. "They paid the price for that knowledge. I'm the only one who made it back." He reached across the table suddenly, grabbing Lisa's hand. "But I didn't come back empty-handed. What's on that ship will change humanity forever." Lisa pulled her hand away, unsettled. "You need to rest. We'll talk more tomorrow." As she turned to leave, Marcus called after her. "They're coming, Lisa. The architects sent us back because they knew. They're coming. And what I brought back is the only thing that can save Earth." Lisa paused at the door. "Who's coming, Marcus?" His smile returned, cryptic and cold. "Tomorrow. I'll tell you everything tomorrow. But you should get your best scientists working on that ship right away. We don't have much time." As the door closed behind her, Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that while the horizon had returned, the Marcus Davis she had known was still lost somewhere among the stars. Morning came, but Lisa had barely slept. The return of the horizon and Marcus's cryptic warning kept her mind racing all night. When she arrived at the secure facility where both Marcus and the ship were being held, she found a flurry of activity. "Commander," a young scientist called out as Lisa walked through the main lab. "You need to see this." He led her to a workstation where a small device from the horizon sat inside a clear box. It was about the size of a tennis ball, metallic with strange symbols etched into its surface. As Lisa watched, it floated in midair, spinning slowly. "It's been doing that for hours," the scientist explained. "No power source we can detect, no magnets, it just ignores gravity." "Any idea what it does?" Lisa asked. "None. We've found dozens of objects like this all over the ship, some kind of technology we've never seen before." Admiral Thomas walked in. looking like he hadn't slept either. "Commander Wilson, our guest is awake and asking for you." Lisa nodded. "What do the medical tests show?" "Nothing unusual except his age. Physically, he's exactly as he was when the Horizon left Earth, right down to a filling he got 2 weeks before launch. His DNA matches our records. It's definitely Marcus Davis." "But?" Lisa sensed the Admiral was holding something back. "But his brain scans show unusual activity. Patterns our doctors have never seen before. They want to run more tests, but he's refusing until he talks to you." Lisa found Marcus sitting on the edge of his bed in the medical wing, looking out the window at the horizon, which was visible in the distance inside a massive hangar. "Beautiful morning," Marcus said without turning around. "I forgot how blue Earth's sky is." "You promised to tell me everything," Lisa said, sitting in the chair opposite him. Marcus turned to face her. "Yes, but first, has anyone tried to activate the ship's main computer?" "No. Protocol for unknown tech." "Good," Marcus interrupted. "Don't. Not until I can supervise." He took a deep breath. "Now where should I start?" "The beginning," Lisa said firmly. "What happened after you left Earth?" Marcus's eyes grew distant. "We followed the mission plan for the first year. Everything was normal. Captain Miller ran a tight ship. We did our research, collected our data." He smiled briefly. "You remember how Tom used to sing those old songs during the night shift?" Lisa nodded, remembering her former captain's love of 20th century music. "The problem started when we were about 14 months out," Marcus continued. "Our sensors picked up something strange near Proxima Centauri, energy readings unlike anything we'd seen before. The captain decided to investigate." "Standard procedure," Lisa agreed. "What we found wasn't standard." Marcus's voice dropped lower. "There was a ship there, Lisa. Massive, damaged, not human-made." Despite having suspected as much, Lisa felt her heart race. "First contact?" "Yes and no." Marcus stood and paced the small room. The ship was enormous, maybe 20 times the size of the Horizon, but it was dying, systems failing. The beings inside, the architects they called themselves, were the last of their kind. "What did they look like?" Marcus shook his head. "We never saw them directly. They communicated through the ship's systems, voices, images in our minds. They'd been watching Earth for centuries, they said, studying us from afar. Why didn't they make contact before? They were hiding." Marcus's eyes darkened. "Running from something they called the Harvesters, an ancient race that destroys advanced civilizations and takes their technology." Lisa frowned. "Why tell us this? Why choose the Horizon?" "Because they were dying, and they needed someone to carry on their knowledge." Marcus sat back down. "They said humans reminded them of themselves, curious, adaptable, stubborn. They believed we might succeed where they had failed, so they gave you their technology. They did more than that." Marcus leaned forward. "They rebuilt the Horizon from the inside out, changed its systems, its engines, taught us how they worked." "And the crew agreed to this?" Lisa asked skeptically. "Not at first. Captain Miller was cautious, worried it might be a trap. But when the architects showed us what their technology could do..." Marcus trailed off, his eyes bright with remembered wonder. "Imagine being able to fold space, Lisa. To travel between stars in days instead of decades. To create energy from the fabric of space-time itself. If this technology is so advanced, why did it take 15 years for you to return?" Marcus's expression changed, becoming guarded. "That's complicated. Time works differently near their technology. For us, only about 6 months passed." Lisa studied him carefully. "And the rest of the crew? What happened to them?" Pain flashed across Marcus's face. "The integration process. Not everyone's body could handle it." "Handle what?" Before Marcus could answer, an alarm blared. Admiral Thomas burst into the room. "We have a situation," he said tersely. "The ship, it's doing something." They rushed to the observation deck overlooking the hangar, Below them, the horizon pulsed with blue light, the strange vine-like structures around its hull glowing brighter by the second. It started 5 minutes ago, a scientist explained. Energy readings are off the charts. Did someone touch it? Try to access the systems, Marcus demanded. No, we followed protocol. Marcus closed his eyes briefly. It's starting the next phase. Next phase of what? Lisa asked sharply. Before Marcus could answer, one of the scientists monitoring the ship cried out. On his screen, complex symbols appeared, scrolling too fast to read. The ship's computer just came online by itself, the scientist said. I think it's talking to our systems. Shut everything down, Admiral Thomas ordered. Isolate all networks. Too late, Marcus said quietly. It's already done. The screens throughout the facility flickered, then displayed the same strange symbols. One by one, they resolved into English letters forming words. Integration process initiated. Host systems compatible. Beginning knowledge transfer. What is this? Lisa demanded, turning to Marcus. What's it doing? Exactly what the architects programmed it to do, Marcus replied calmly, sharing their knowledge with humanity. On every screen in the facility, images began to appear. Blueprints for impossible machines, formulas that defied known physics, star charts of regions no human had ever mapped. My God, whispered Admiral Thomas. Is this the architects' legacy? Marcus said. Everything they knew, everything they were. One of the scientists studying the data looked up in shock. This can't be right. According to these formulas, you could generate unlimited energy by... I don't even have words for this concept. The architects had a different understanding of physics than we do, Marcus explained. They found pathways we never imagined. Lisa studied Marcus's face. He seemed too calm, too prepared. You knew this would happen. Of course. He smiled slightly. It's why I'm here, to guide you through it. And what about your warning yesterday? Lisa pressed. You said they're coming. Who? The smile faded from Marcus's face. The harvesters, the same ones who wiped out the architects. Are you saying these harvesters are coming to Earth? Admiral Thomas demanded. Yes. Marcus turned to face them fully. The architects knew the harvesters would detect the technology they gave us. That's why they included weapons and defenses in the package. You're telling us you brought an alien war to our doorstep? Lisa's voice rose in anger. No, Lisa. Marcus's expression was solemn. The war was already coming. The architects just gave us a fighting chance. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. On the screens around them, the knowledge of an ancient alien civilization continued to unfold, beautiful and terrible all at once. How long do we have? Admiral Thomas finally asked. Marcus looked at the nearest screen, where a star chart was displaying. Based on the architect's projections, 6 months, maybe less. Lisa stepped closer to Marcus. There's more you're not telling us. What really happened to the crew, Marcus? Why are you the only one who came back? Marcus's eyes met hers, and for a moment Lisa saw something ancient and unfamiliar looking back at her. Because I was the only one who completed the full integration. Integration with what? Lisa whispered, though part of her already knew the answer. Marcus smiled sadly. With them, Lisa. The architects needed a vessel, a way to guide humanity through what's coming. He tapped his temple. They're here, inside me. The last of their kind, guiding the first of ours into the stars. 3 weeks passed since the horizon returned. Earth's top scientists worked day and night to understand the alien technology. Military leaders from around the world gathered in secret meetings. The public still knew nothing about the ship's return or what it brought back. Lisa stood in the main research lab watching as teams studied parts taken from the horizon. Despite their best efforts, progress was slow. The technology was too advanced, operating on principles that contradicted Earth's understanding of physics. Any luck with the power core? She asked Dr. Reed, the lead scientist. The older man shook his head. We can measure its output, but we have no idea how it works. It creates energy from nothing. He looked tired and frustrated. We need more time. Time is something we don't have, Lisa reminded him. According to Marcus, the harvesters could arrive in less than 6 months. Dr. Reed sighed. Commander, I'm not sure we should trust everything Marcus says. Why not? Have you seen him lately? The way he talks moves. He's changing. Lisa had noticed it too. Each day Marcus seemed less like the man she once knew. His speech patterns had altered. He used strange words and concepts. Sometimes he stared at nothing, as if seeing things no one else could. Keep working, she told Dr. Reed. I'll talk to him. Lisa found Marcus in a room set aside for him near the lab. He sat cross-legged on the floor, eyes closed, fingers moving in complex patterns. Strange symbols drawn with marker covered the walls, the same alien script from the ship's computer. Marcus, she called. His eyes opened slowly. For a moment they seemed to glow with a faint blue light, but it might have been a trick of the lighting. Lisa, he said, his voice oddly formal. You are concerned. The scientists say they're struggling to understand the technology. Marcus stood in one fluid motion. They approach it wrong. They try to fit it into their existing framework. He walked to one of the walls and traced a symbol. The architects saw reality differently. Energy, matter, space, time, all connected, all malleable. Can you help them understand? I try, he said. But the human mind has limitations. Lisa frowned at his choice of words. The human mind. You're human too, Marcus. He turned to her with a strange smile. Am I? Still? Before Lisa could respond, her communication device beeped. Commander Wilson, we need you in Lab 7 immediately. On my way, she replied, giving Marcus one last concerned look before leaving. Lab 7 was in chaos when Lisa arrived. A researcher lay on the floor having what looked like a seizure. Medical staff worked frantically around him. What happened? Lisa demanded. Dr. Patel, second in command of the research team, looked shaken. He was working with one of the components from the navigation system. Suddenly he started screaming about voices and lights. She pointed to a small device on the workbench. That thing lit up right before he collapsed. The device was pyramid-shaped, covered in the now familiar alien script. It pulsed with a soft blue glow. Has this happened before? Lisa asked. 3 similar incidents in the past week, Dr. Patel admitted. Headaches, hallucinations. One researcher said she could suddenly understand the alien language, but when we tested her, she couldn't actually translate anything. Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. Why wasn't I informed? Admiral Thomas said not to bother you with minor issues. The medical team wheeled the unconscious researcher out of the lab. Lisa picked up the device carefully. Quarantine anything that causes these reactions, she ordered. And I want to see medical reports on everyone working with this technology. That evening, Lisa reviewed the medical files in her office. 28 researchers had reported symptoms: headaches, strange dreams, visual disturbances. All had direct contact with the alien technology. Her door opened and Admiral Thomas entered. You wanted to see me? Why didn't you tell me about the medical incidents? Lisa demanded. The Admiral sat heavily in the chair across from her desk. Because we can't afford to slow down, not with what we're facing. People are getting hurt, and billions could die if we're not ready when the harvesters arrive. He rubbed his eyes. What's our progress? Minimal, Lisa admitted. The technology is just too advanced. What about Marcus? Is he helping? In his way. But he's changing. Sometimes I don't think we're talking to Marcus anymore. The Admiral nodded slowly. I've noticed. The question is, can we trust what's left of him? Or whatever he's becoming? Before Lisa could answer, an alarm sounded. The security channel on her computer activated automatically. A guard appeared, on screen looking panicked. Commander Wilson, Marcus Davis has breached the secure storage area. He's taken components from the ship. Lisa and a security team raced to Marcus's quarters. Inside, they found the room transformed. The walls were now completely covered in alien script. In the center of the floor, Marcus had assembled a strange device from parts stolen from storage. It hummed with energy, projecting a holographic star map into the air. Marcus stood before it, eyes closed, hands moving through the projection as if conducting an invisible orchestra. He didn't acknowledge their entry. "Marcus," Lisa called out. "What are you doing?" His eyes opened, that same blue glow unmistakable now. "Preparing. Time grows short. You stole restricted materials. You've been acting without authorization." "Authorization?" Marcus laughed, a sound unlike anything Lisa had heard from him before. "You still don't understand. What's coming cannot be stopped by your weapons, your ships." Lisa signaled the security team to stand by. "Then help us understand." Marcus gestured at the star map. A section expanded, showing a distant part of the galaxy. "The harvesters move here, consuming all advanced civilizations in their path. They've done this for millions of years." "Why? What do they want?" "Evolution. They absorb technology, knowledge, biology. They believe it is their destiny to become the ultimate life form." His fingers traced a path through the stars. "They detected the energy signature when the architects changed the horizon. They know we have the technology." A cold realization dawned on Lisa. "You led them here. The architects used us as bait." "No," Marcus said sharply. "As a weapon. The architects tried to fight alone and failed. Humans are different, adaptable, unpredictable." He touched the device at his feet, and the hologram changed to show ship designs. The architects left templates for weapons, shields, ships. With them, humanity might succeed where they failed. "And that justifies hijacking your mind? Taking over your body?" Lisa challenged. Marcus's expression softened, and for a moment he looked more like his old self. "They didn't take, Lisa. I accepted. The crew, not all of them did." Pain crossed his face. Some fought the integration. Their minds couldn't handle it. So they died. Their bodies did. Their knowledge, memories. The architects preserved what they could. One of the security officers stepped forward. "Commander, we've detected an energy transmission coming from this room. He's sending data to someone." Lisa's eyes widened. "Marcus, what have you done?" "What was necessary?" He pointed to the star map where a new light had appeared, moving rapidly. "The test is beginning." "What test?" The facility shook suddenly as if struck by an earthquake. Emergency lights activated. "Sir," one of the guards called out, pressing his earpiece. "Space Command reports an unknown object entering Earth orbit. It's massive." Marcus looked at Lisa, his expression both sad and determined. "The first scout. Earlier than expected." He turned back to the holographic display. "Now we see if humanity is ready to receive the architect's gift." Lisa grabbed his arm. "You brought them here deliberately?" "Not I," Marcus said quietly. "The architects, they knew the harvesters would follow their technology. This was always their plan." The room shook again, harder this time. On Marcus's display, the object in Earth orbit grew larger, its shape becoming clearer. A massive ship like nothing humans had ever built. "What happens now?" Lisa whispered. Marcus's eyes glowed brighter. "Now, Commander Wilson, we fight. Or we die." Chaos erupted across Earth as the massive alien vessel entered orbit. Despite government attempts to keep it secret, videos of the strange ship appeared online within minutes. People panicked in major cities. Military forces worldwide went on high alert. Inside the facility, Lisa and her team gathered in the command center. On the main screen, they watched the alien ship. It was enormous, at least 2 miles long, with a design unlike anything in human experience. It looked like a massive tangle of metallic tentacles wrapped around a central core that pulsed with reddish light. "All attempts at communication have failed," reported the communications officer. "It's not responding on any frequency." Admiral Thomas studied the tactical display. "What are our options?" The weapons officer looked grim. "We've moved 3 missile platforms into range, but our most powerful weapons would be like throwing Rocks at a battleship. The harvesters don't communicate with lesser species, Marcus said from the doorway. 2 guards flanked him, weapons ready. They only take. Admiral Thomas turned to him. You're confined to quarters. How did you get here? Your guards found it difficult to stop me. Marcus walked to the center of the room, ignoring the weapons aimed at him. The architects left tools to fight them, but you've been too slow to understand. You should have told us everything from the beginning, Lisa said angrily. Would you have believed me? Marcus asked. Would you have accepted what needed to be done? Before she could answer, the main screen flickered. The image of the alien ship was replaced by something else, a face, if it could be called that. It had no clear features, just a shifting mass of what looked like red-black liquid metal with points of light moving beneath the surface. They're broadcasting, the communications officer said, sounding surprised. A voice filled the room, deep and strangely flat, speaking perfect English. We are the harvesters. We have detected forbidden technology on your world. Surrender it and all knowledge associated with it. Failure to comply will result in your extinction. The room fell silent. Admiral Thomas stepped forward. This is Admiral Thomas of Earth. Defense. We mean no hostility. The technology you refer to came to us recently. We had no prior knowledge of... Irrelevant, the voice interrupted. The architects have attempted to use your species as a weapon against us. This cannot be permitted. You will surrender the technology and the vessel designated Horizon within 6 Earth hours, or we will begin planetary sterilization. The transmission ended abruptly. The image returned to the alien ship in orbit. Planetary sterilization, someone whispered. They're talking about wiping out all life on Earth. Admiral Thomas turned to Marcus. You knew this would happen. You led them here. No, Marcus replied calmly. The architects knew they would come eventually. They chose to give us a chance to fight back. Fight back? Lisa exclaimed. You heard them. They'll destroy the planet. Only if we surrender. Marcus walked to a computer terminal and placed his hand on it. The screen immediately filled with alien script that quickly translated to English. The architects faced this choice too. They chose to run. For 1,000,000 years they ran, watching the harvesters destroy world after world. And what happened to them in the end? Lisa asked. They died anyway. Marcus looked up, his eyes glowing blue. But they learned something important in their final days. The harvesters can be beaten. Admiral Thomas leaned over the terminal. How? Their technology is advanced but not perfect. They're vulnerable to specific energy frequencies. Marcus's fingers danced across the keyboard, bringing up complex diagrams. The architects hid these weaknesses in the Horizon systems. Can we exploit them in 6 hours? Lisa asked. No, Marcus admitted, but we don't need to. We just need to show them we can. 3 hours later, Lisa stood on the bridge of the Horizon with Marcus and a small crew of Earth's best pilots and engineers. The ship hummed with power, systems online, that no human fully understood. Are you sure this will work? Lisa asked as she watched Marcus activate controls that hadn't existed when the ship left Earth 15 years ago. No, he replied honestly, but it's our best chance. He turned to face her fully. The architects believe in humanity's potential. That's why they chose your ship, your people. And why they took over your mind. Marcus shook his head. Not took over, joined with. I'm still here, Lisa. I remember climbing trees as a child in Colorado. I remember the day we met at the academy. I remember watching you get injured before the Horizon launched. He touched her arm gently. But I also carry their memories now. Their knowledge. Their hope. A technician called out from a nearby station. Energy readings from the harvester ship are spiking. They might be preparing weapons. Marcus turned back to the controls. Time to show them what we've learned. He pressed his palms against a glowing panel. The entire ship vibrated as systems activated throughout its structure. Outside, the strange vine-like growths that covered the hull began to pulse with blue, A light. What are you doing? Lisa asked. Activating the architect's defense system. Watch. On the view screen, they could see the harvester ship. As the Horizon systems came fully online, a beam of blue-white energy shot forth, striking the massive alien vessel. It wasn't a conventional weapon. Where the beam touched, the harvester ship seemed to ripple and distort, as if reality itself was becoming unstable. What is that? Admiral Thomas asked over the communication link. Space-time manipulation, Marcus explained. The architect's most advanced technology. It doesn't destroy matter. It shifts it partially out of phase with our universe. The harvester ship retaliated, firing red energy beams toward Earth. Before they could reach the atmosphere, the Horizon generated a field of blue light that intercepted the attack, absorbing it harmlessly. Impossible, whispered one of the engineers. No shield could do that. Not a shield as you understand it, Marcus said. More like a localized alteration of physical laws. The harvester ship fired again, this time directly at the Horizon. The small Earth ship shuddered under the impact but remained intact. They're scanning us, reported a technician, trying to analyze our systems. Marcus smiled. Good. Let them, see? The attack suddenly stopped. On the view screen, the harvester ship began to move away from Earth, accelerating rapidly. They're retreating, Lisa said in disbelief. Not retreating, Marcus corrected her, reporting back. His expression turned grim. This was just a scout. Now they know we have the architect's technology. They'll return with a larger force. How much time do we have? Admiral Thomas asked. Months, perhaps, no more. Lisa watched as the alien ship vanished into the darkness of space. Can we win? That depends on what we do now. Marcus turned to face the bridge crew. The architects chose humanity because you adapt quickly, because you fight fiercely when threatened, because you work together when faced with extinction. He gestured toward the controls. I can teach you how to use this ship, how to build more like it. The architects left blueprints for weapons, shields, FTL drives. Everything you need to stand against what's coming. And what happens to you? Lisa asked quietly. To what's left of Marcus Davis. His eyes met hers, glowing faintly blue but still recognizably human. I am both Marcus and more than Marcus now. I will help as long as I can. After that, he shrugged. The integration process is unpredictable. Eventually this body will fail. Admiral Thomas's voice came over the comm. Earth's leaders are meeting an emergency session. They want answers about what just happened. Tell them the truth, Marcus said simply. Tell them Earth is now part of a war that has raged across the galaxy for 1,000,000 years. And tell them, we have a chance to end it. As the Horizon turned back toward Earth, Lisa looked at the stars. For all of human history, they had represented mystery, possibility, dreams. Now they held a very real threat, and perhaps humanity's destiny. So what happens now? She asked Marcus. Now, he said, his voice taking on that strange dual quality that suggested both Marcus and the architect speaking together. We prepare for the real battle, the one that will determine whether humanity joins the architects in extinction or becomes something greater than either of us ever imagined. Vanished Earthship returns, carrying tech that shouldn't exist. Part 5. Humanity's Stand. 3 months passed in a blur of frantic activity. The world's governments, once divided by old rivalries, now worked together with a single purpose: survival. The Horizon became the center of Earth's largest scientific and military effort in history. Lisa stood in the massive new shipyard built in orbit around Earth. Through the viewport, she watched as workers swarmed over the skeletal frame of what would become humanity's first true battleship. 6 more like it were under construction nearby. Impressive progress, Admiral Thomas said, joining her at the window. 3 months ago, we couldn't even understand how the Horizon's engines worked. Now we're building warships with the same technology. Marcus has been a good teacher, Lisa replied. The architects have been good teachers, the Admiral corrected her. How much of Marcus do you think is left in there? Lisa didn't answer immediately. She had spent more time with Marcus than anyone else during these past months. She had watched as he transferred the architect's knowledge to Earth's scientists, teaching them to build impossible machines and weapons that defied conventional physics. With each passing day, he seemed less human, his speech patterns stranger, his movements more fluid, his eyes glowing a permanent soft blue. Enough, she finally said. Enough of him is still there. Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent call. Commander Wilson, Admiral Thomas, you're needed in the command center immediately. The command center was a hive of activity when they arrived. Officers moved between stations with purpose, their faces tense. Report, Admiral Tiao, Thomas ordered. The tactical officer pointed to the main screen. Our deep space sensors just detected multiple objects approaching the solar system. They're using some kind of FTL travel similar to what the horizon demonstrated. The harvesters, Lisa whispered. Yes, ma'am. Based on their current trajectory and speed, they'll reach Earth in approximately 18 hours. How many? We count 7 large vessels, each at least 3 times the size of the scout ship we encountered 3 months ago. Admiral Thomas studied the tactical display. Are our new ships ready? The Defiance can launch now. The others need at least 2 more weeks. Launch the Defiance immediately and get me Marcus. Marcus was in the research lab when they found him. He stood perfectly still in the center of the room, surrounded by floating holographic displays showing ship schematics and weapon designs. His eyes were closed but opened as they approached. They're here, he said simply. It wasn't a question. 7 ships, Lisa confirmed. Much larger than the Scout. Marcus nodded. As expected. The harvesters never commit their full force. Initially, they test, learn, then strike. 1 ship is ready, Admiral Thomas said. The Defiance. Will it be enough? No, Marcus replied bluntly. Not alone. Then what do we do? Marcus walked to a console and activated it with a touch. A new design appeared. Not a ship, but some kind of network linking Earth's existing defense satellites. The architects left more than ship designs, he explained. They left this. What is it? Lisa asked. A planetary defense system. It will link your existing satellites and weapons platforms, enhancing them with the architect's technology. Admiral Thomas studied the design. Can we build this in 18 hours? We must, Marcus replied. I'll need your best engineers and direct access to Earth's satellite control systems. The Admiral hesitated, then nodded. Do it. 16 hours later, Lisa stood on the bridge of the Defiance as it moved into position between Earth and the approaching harvester fleet. The ship was a marvel of human and alien engineering, sleek and powerful, with weapons and defenses beyond anything humanity had ever built. But against 7 harvester ships, Lisa knew their chances were slim. Marcus sat at the main control panel, his fingers dancing across interfaces designed specifically for him. Part of the ship's systems could only be activated by someone who had undergone the architect's integration process. The defense network is online, he reported. All satellites are linked and upgraded. Earth is as protected as we can make it. The tactical officer called out, Harvester fleet dropping out of FTL in 3, 2, 1. On the view screen, space rippled and distorted. 7 massive ships appeared, each dwarfing the Defiance. They were similar to the scout ship, masses of metallic tentacles around glowing red cores, but even more nightmarish in their design. They're broadcasting, the communications officer announced. The same flat, emotionless voice they had heard 3 months ago filled the bridge. Humans. You have been found worthy of ascension. Your use of the architect's technology proves your potential. Surrender yourselves to us. Become part of the harvesters. Your knowledge and abilities will add to our perfection. Admiral Thomas, watching, from Earth Command responded, We decline your offer. We choose to remain as we are. Unfortunate. Your extinction will proceed. The harvester ships moved forward in perfect formation. The largest ship at the center fired a massive red beam toward Earth. "Activate the defense network," Lisa ordered. Marcus pressed his palms against the control panel. Around Earth, hundreds of satellites simultaneously activated, projecting a blue energy field that intercepted the harvester beam. The attack dispersed harmlessly, but the effort visibly strained the defense system. "The network won't hold against sustained attack," Marcus warned. "We need to take the fight to them." Lisa nodded to the tactical officer. "All weapons ready. Target the lead ship." The Defiance surged forward, weapons firing. Beams of blue-white energy struck the lead harvester ship, causing its structure to distort and ripple. Small sections of its tentacles began to dissolve into nothingness. "It's working!" someone shouted. Then the remaining harvester ships responded. Multiple energy beams converged on the Defiance. The ship's shields held initially, but alarms began to sound throughout the bridge. "Shield integrity at 60%, reported the engineering officer. 50, 40. Marcus suddenly stood. "There's another way." He turned to Lisa. "The architects left one final gift, a weapon of last resort." "Why didn't you mention this before?" Lisa demanded. "Because it requires a sacrifice." His eyes met hers, fully human for the first time in months. "My sacrifice." Before she could respond, the ship rocked violently as a harvester beam penetrated the shields. "Hull breach on deck 3, someone called out. "Shields failing." Marcus placed his hand on Lisa's shoulder. "The architects chose humanity because you fight for each other, because you sacrifice for each other. Now it's my turn." "Marcus, wait." But he was already moving toward a sealed section of the bridge. A chamber that had been built to his specifications, its purpose never explained. He stepped inside and placed his hands on 2 glowing panels. "The architect's consciousness carries the frequency key to disrupt the harvesters permanently," he explained as the chamber sealed around him. "When released all at once, it will create a cascade failure in their ships." "Released? Marcus, what are you doing?" He smiled sadly. "Completing the mission." His body began to glow with blue light. "Tell Earth, be worthy of this second chance." The light around Marcus intensified, until Lisa had to shield her eyes. Energy poured from his body, through the ship's systems and outward in an expanding wave of blue-white light. When the light faded and Lisa could see again, Marcus was gone. Only a faint shimmer of blue particles remained where he had stood. On the view screen, the harvester ships writhed like wounded creatures. Their metallic tentacles twisted and broke apart. The red glow at their cores flickered and died. One by one, they fell silent and dark. "What just happened?" Admiral Thomas asked over the comm. Lisa stared at the empty chamber where Marcus had stood. He used himself as a weapon, the architect's consciousness inside him. He released it somehow. The tactical officer looked up from his console in amazement. "The harvester ships are completely disabled. No power, no life signs. They're dead." A silence fell over the bridge as the implications sank in. Humanity had won its first interstellar battle, but at a cost. 1 month later, Lisa stood in a new facility built around the original Horizon. The ship had been transformed into a monument and research center. Scientists from around the world now worked together to study and develop the architect's technology. Admiral Thomas joined her, looking at the ship. "The first of our new fleet launches next week. 10 ships with 20 more under construction." "And the harvester technology?" "Being studied carefully. Their ships contained star maps showing hundreds of worlds they've conquered. We may not be the only survivors out there." Lisa nodded. "Marcus, or the architects, believed we could be more than they were, that we could succeed where they failed. Do you think we will?" Lisa looked up at the horizon, the ship that had vanished and returned carrying technology that shouldn't have existed, and a man who became something more than human to save his species. "Yes," she said firmly. "But not by becoming like the harvesters, taking what isn't ours, not even by becoming like the architects, hiding and running until we can fight no more. She turned to face the Admiral. We'll do it the human way. We'll explore. We'll learn. We'll make allies instead of subjects. And when we find others out there who face the same threat we did, we'll stand with them. Through the facility's large windows, Earth shone blue and beautiful against the blackness of space.